Can you see us okay?
I can. This is good. This is
Awesome.
good. Last time you joined like two different accounts was confusing, but you guys seem to have mastered it. And
Yeah, we
last
figured it
time that
out.
we talked. Well, welcome to the WAG Pod. Thank you guys for joining. We have Amanda Tallerday and Paige Gagner. Did I say this correctly?
Yes.
Come on now. Come on. Of the downtown Hound in Oregon. So I remember touching base with you guys before. And I hear that there are some horror stories that we can get into a little bit later about mobile grooming. But Amanda, if you just kind of want to jump in and explain kind of your journey through doing mobile grooming and then opening up a shop, yeah.
Yeah, so I started out kind of randomly grooming. It was I knew some people who had a shop and they needed a bather.
Yep.
Um, so that's how I started out. And then that shop didn't last very long, ended up closing down after a few months.
It
But
wasn't because of your bathing skills, though, was it?
no, it had some pretty bad management
Okay,
skills
yeah.
going on there.
Okay. All right.
And then the people who owned it, they like never owned a dog grooming salon and weren't dog groomers. So,
Right.
but then I went to PetSmart, which is where we ended up meeting up at.
Yeah.
Um, and we both went to Academy through PetSmart.
Hmm?
And then I eventually quit PetSmart and started working for a lady who had a mobile grooming van.
Nice.
And kind of the same similar situation. She wasn't really a groomer and didn't really know how to like handle running that kind of business.
Right. Right.
And I was like 22 or 23 when I started working there, and I
Yeah.
ended up managing her van for like 6 years.
Right.
And she was going to sell it to me, but for like an absorbent amount of money,
And you were
everything
doing
just,
all the work anyways, right?
yeah, she didn't even live in the state,
That's
so I kind
funny.
of had to learn how to run a business
Yeah.
without really trying to.
Right. Right.
And so at that point, I was just like, I'm gonna save up my own money to get a Wagon Tails van, which is what I did.
What is a
Um,
wagon tails van?
Yeah, so there's like two big mobile grooming
Okay.
distributors. One of
Yeah.
them is Hanvy, and then one of them is Wagon Tails, and they're on
Right.
the East Coast.
Okay.
And their whole job is to make these vans. So
Right.
everything's included out in them.
So
It's
those are the
completely
big two,
designed for
though.
grooming.
Those are the ones that you kind of have to choose between.
Yeah, those are the big two. There's
Right.
other ones around, but those are like the more reputable ones with quality
Right.
vans.
Right.
And so yeah, that's when I started the Dignified Hound.
Right. Now
Um,
you're downtown, but it
Now
wasn't.
we're downtown
Right.
Hound,
Yeah.
yeah. But so I was pretty much mobile for like 10 years.
Mhm.
COVID happened and I ran into Paige.
Right.
And so we were
And
kind of in
y'all at PetSmart, is that right? Did y'all
we
like
worked
reconnect
together at
there?
PetSmart, yeah. And
Right.
then when we both left PetSmart, we worked in different places.
Gotcha.
And then when I ran into her during COVID, she wasn't able to work during that time. So
Right.
she started working for the van.
Gotcha.
And then we pretty much been working together ever since, and then decided to open up our shop instead of being mobile.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So what does the PetSmart program entail? So I guess or they kind of have the monopoly on like giving certifications essentially. Like I guess they're pretty nationwide in terms of grooming, or what does that look like?
Yeah, they'll start you out as a bather, and then if they want you to be a groomer, they'll send you to an academy, which is
Right.
basically just a bigger PetSmart.
Gotcha.
And I mean, you training is a loose word. Like they
Sure.
kind of train you, you get like a good like base of information,
Right.
but it's not very one-on-one, and you're kind of trained on the job.
Gotcha.
Which is also pretty chaotic. So,
Yeah.
I mean, really just like you kind of get the basics at PetSmart and then you come back and then you have to like really learn from experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. I mean, it's not like something because we were talking a little about those modules and different things for pet care and like that'd be some of those things are hard to do without additional in-person classes, right? Like you can't unless you have a dog at home you can practice with all the time, but you can only give them so many
Yeah.
haircuts and in the meantime. So you'd mentioned you had some horror stories from your mobile grooming days. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's just one of those. So, I mean, so much can go wrong with mobile grooming.
Right.
Like the generator will break down, you'll run out of water.
Right.
You get stuck in traffic, you're
Right.
always on the road.
So one time I was at a client's house and I was doing dogs. I had already probably done 8 or 9 dogs that day. And then I was
That
doing,
many in a day? I mean, I guess that
oh
makes
yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah. And then I was doing some like pro bono work after work in the van at these people's house, right? And I'm like so
you're just being
tired.
nice. That's
It's
cool.
3 pit bulls and they're huge, bigger than me.
Yeah.
Like I'm fighting with them, whatever, right? And so we would fill up with water a lot of times before we leave people's houses just to make it seamless.
Right.
So I filled up with water. I'm ready to get the hell out of there. And I drive off with their hose connected to my van, to the van. And water is going everywhere. It's like a whole thing. And we have full schedules. We have full schedules for the whole year. So we're at people's
Y'all were booked out for the entire year?
Yes.
Yeah. And the mobile, we aren't in our shop now because we're still kind of like
you're new
adjusting. But when we were in the van, we'd be booked out a full year.
No openings.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like,
when did you take vacations?
Never. From 7 a.m. to like 8 p.m. on her 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because we would switch because we only had one van. So she would work 4 days.
Right.
And then I would work 3 days, but like 10-hour days or more.
Right.
And then stack dogs. So I could still make money, but then I do like all the business stuff.
Right. And so you were working on all the business stuff in the same time, like when you were quote unquote off. You're never really off when you like make your own business.
You're not really.
And she booked all of my appointments during that time.
Right.
Dealt with everyone, dealt with like complaints that I got. Like
she didn't get that many complaints.
Did you get some complaints for a little while there?
She's better at telling people how it is.
Right.
Like I'm not very good at like telling customers like. In the past, I kind of like let them walk all over me and be afraid to like put my foot down on certain things and just kind of like let them treat me however. And she's like the total opposite. So it's like we have opposite things that we kind of do.
Help each other.
Yeah. But now that we actually like work together in the shop and we're together all the time, like I've been able to be more like assertive with customers from learning from her.
Definitely, because I feel like you have a customer coming into your space now, and so is so is the van. But then it's mostly just the dog coming in the van, right? It's not, and so they can be kind of jerky. I guess
that's so true. It's like they kind of they saw us as like, even though it's a more specialized service, I feel like I was seen as like inferior compared to here.
Right.
Yeah.
You're in
that sucks.
Their territory.
Just and the kind of perceptions of that, and you can't. I mean, you can only do so. I mean, I'm sure you had great clients as well who are really kind
of clients.
You know,
we just you're going to people's house and you're in their territory, and they need mobile for a reason, but because you're in their house, I mean, I call it conversational hostage, where they just kind of like treat you like a therapist almost. And I know that's like in the hair industry.
Right. You're like, there's an extra fee for this that you guys can pay us, right?
Yeah, it would happen. I had people like answer the door topless, which was really awkward. I've had
what do you do during that situation?
I just like this is Pluto.
Pluto's saying hello.
Hello, Buddha. How are you doing, puppy?
He's got to say he wants to be involved. He's also our greeter here. He like
really
good at everyone.
He just runs the front desk and kind of writes down.
And it does, yeah.
And then every single name is just a paw print, and you're like, well, this isn't helping us out very much, but it's fine.
He's like so friendly.
Yeah. Is he y'all's shared dog, or is it one of y'all's?
He's mine.
Okay.
And then there's also, here, I'll show you Reba. She's really cute.
You gotta see her.
Reba, that's cute.
She got her from a customer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are those dogs called again?
She's a Shiba Inu, so she's
right.
Shiba.
Yeah. That's like the dog. They have that dog meme or something like that with.
Yeah.
We each have a dog that we inherited from a client who couldn't.
Really, they just were like, I can't do this anymore. Like,
yeah. We get that happens a lot, or we have to like help rehome dogs, but we've ended up with a lot of dogs. You have too many dogs.
Yeah. Do you see that as something you'd be like interested in? I mean, I guess you're just doing that based on with your clients, right?
Yeah.
And connecting to another, but like, do you usually work with groups outside of that? Like rescue groups or whatever? They're like, that's a lot of extra pressure.
I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, it would be really hard.
Heartbreaking.
We've groomed for rescues, and then we've helped out like our Eugene Animal Control with cases of neglect and stuff where the dogs need to get groomed. So we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And which is always cool because we want to help the pets and everything, but they'll also maybe like give us a shout out on social media, which is also so helpful.
Which definitely helps
to get people in and stuff. It's been an adjustment from going from being mobile to being in a shop, but we've been in a shop now for about a year, and we've almost been in this location for a year.
Yeah. So you were mentioning earlier when we talked, you had a shop in Oregon, but then you switched to a different location.
Yeah. Our town has some like issues with crime.
Right.
And so we were kind of like in the epicenter of it with the last shop, and we didn't have a parking lot.
We were right by the soup kitchen.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really beautiful down there. It's beautiful.
Nice.
But it was in an area where you're like, I don't know how like safe I feel like having all of our stuff here kind of deal.
You were getting, I mean, you leave the door and like walk to your car and you're getting threatened. Like it's like unfortunate, but it's kind of a reality in this like.
That's what Buddha's there to protect you, though.
Yeah, that's exactly what Buddha's there for. But it wasn't great for the customers. I mean, they'd have to like park across the street and kind of like through everything going on around.
Yeah, because you have to think from the customer's perspective as well, right? Like,
so they let us know.
Yeah. At least they let you know. And so, did you like spend a ton of time like getting that one ready, and then you just pivoted?
Yeah. So we opened it in. We conceptualized the Downtown Hound in November of 2023, I guess. Okay. Yeah. And then we were open for business January 2nd, 2024. So all in between that time, it was like we thought about it and then made it happen. And we had to like, it wasn't too amazing that location, but decorating, and we had to like order all our stuff because coming from a van, we didn't have a tub, or we didn't have tables and all the stuff we needed.
Right.
So we got that all good to go, and the place was super cute. But then by April, we were like, oh, this isn't going to work.
Right.
Being here, because the people were getting the customers were getting upset.
Exactly. And that's just a variety of different factors that kind of led. So
ton of stuff going on. Yeah.
Was it hard to like pivot, or was it pretty easy to find another building and then go to there?
We got really lucky. One of Paige's customers does like commercial real estate, and so this used to be a rock shop, then it was a dispensary, and then it became two different skate shops, and now it is the Downtown Hound.
Now it's the downtown. That's a rich history right there. There's
so there was, right before we moved in, there was like a skate ramp in here still.
We still get skater guys that are like,
they come up.
The ramp in here still? We're like, no, just dogs.
You guys need to incorporate that, just dog skateboard things, Have you seen that jump on right there?
That might have been a good marketing idea, actually.
I know. And they get really confused, but then they get in there and they're like, well, I have to buy something now,
Yeah. But yeah, it was, I wish you could see like what it looked like before in here, because it was like, a skate shop. So it was just, they had like a checkered board wall.
Yeah.
And now it's very pink.
Right. I like the pink. That's a nice color.
Yeah. So we've decorated. It's kind of like we always say like our house, our second house, because we come from our own houses, and then we come here and it's like set up almost like an apartment in a weird way.
Have you ever slept overnight there before?
I did a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, we had to get something done in our house where we like couldn't be in it.
Yeah.
They like did some plaster work, but we couldn't be in there overnight. So yeah, we came and slept here.
You're like, hey, do you mind if I stayed over? She's like, no, go to the shop, go to the downtown.
But yeah, so yeah, we get to bring all our dogs to work every day.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
That is very, very nice too, Were your dogs pretty easily adjustable to meeting all those new dogs and new friends? Because you couldn't have them, or you didn't have a dog when you were doing mobile grooming?
I could only bring Pluto a couple days a week because he's so big.
Right.
And so it was uncomfortable for him. But it sucks because I trained him to be with me at all times.
Gotcha.
And it was like heart-wrenching to be to work in the van and not have him. And it's not like able to have him there, my like stress levels having him around me all the time are so much better now.
Yeah. You should do it next. I mean, obviously you got a shop now, so you don't have to go back. But you could have done one of those little sidecars, that you see sneaking riding with. Wait, you said it's Pluto? I thought you said it was Buddha. And so this whole time I was like feeling some
Pluto.
Okay. It's space vibes. I like that too. That's good.
We would joke that we would like cry a lot in the van.
We cried.
Yeah.
I cried every
Didn't you
day.
say you cried every day in the van?
Mobile grooming is like
It's not for the
not
weak.
for the weak.
No.
Like it makes dog grooming look easy, seem
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
Like I would never do it again.
Right.
And for any amount of money.
Like, I will say
$1
it like
million. Nope, not doing it. No.
I know it sucks. I mean, there are people who love it though. Like,
yeah.
I think people who like really, I don't know, are just like value being in like the zone, like their
Right.
zone. That's not really how I groom. I like,
Right.
I need the like back and forth. I
Sure.
need like, you know.
Right.
And
Do clients
I
usually
like,
stay while you're grooming the dog, or do they typically drop them off, get them back later at the day?
We try not to.
Yeah, we try not to. Some people will. It's just, they want to talk to their dog or they want to like see what's going on. And if the dog knows they're there, they're super distracted and excited, which is, it's not like, get out, but it makes our job a lot easier.
Hard. Yeah, it's
Right.
so much better to do it if they're watching.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure that does help a lot. So what does it look like in terms of getting customers in your shop now versus, having that huge business with mobile grooming? Because I would bet there's kind of a split between people who are like loyal to y'all, but then also people who needed the mobile grooming, right? So is that like social media, or how do y'all get the word out?
Yeah, that's pretty much like our issue we came across opening up the business and switching is we did lose a good amount of our customers because, half, I'd say that's fair. Yeah, I mean, people need it. People are elderly. People have certain medical situations. But then a good amount did follow.
Right.
They're getting excited. But Paige, honestly, she's so good at she's better at social media than I am.
Sure.
She makes our TikTok reels or our
Nice.
Instagram reels and like posts and stuff like that. And she makes the super cute videos.
Treat cam.
Yeah.
People
Really?
I was like, I'm gonna do a treat cam. And it's like people love it.
Done super well. I've never gotten like I never downloaded TikTok. I was like, I can't do this. And then now like I wish I could pay someone to run the social media, but I can't. And it's like in an earlier like episode or whatever. But one of my friends who is partnering with us like make jewelry and sell to boutiques. She was like, Richmond, you're good at a lot of stuff. You're not very good at social media. I was like, I know, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not very good at social media. She's better at it. But even both of us like find ourselves almost like overwhelmed with having to post a lot.
Yeah, you almost forget about it. Like,
I always forget about it.
And then you're like, is this too much? Is this, you know what I mean? But like, it's what you got. Is TikTok your main like way of getting more views and stuff like that? Or does this Instagram do pretty well?
I actually misspoke. I use TikTok so much personally.
Yeah.
So Instagram Reels is
yeah. I mean,
so
dude, I can't even imagine getting into the TikTok world with that. Because even to post it twice at the same place, that's no fun.
I know.
Yeah. I'm sure one day we'll like make a TikTok and get into it a little more. We're just kind of trying to even find our footing with like posting more on social media. You
should see if Pluto will add that to his responsibility.
He's literally dying. He's right here.
He's right here.
He's dying to be in the video.
Yeah, get him in there. Pluto, what are you doing?
He's like, come here.
He's like, you're not paying attention to me.
I know. I had to we have 2 Springer Spaniels at our house, and I had to come to my brother-in-law and sister's house right now to record because I was like, they're gonna be barking the whole time. I was like, I love them, but I can't do that. Pluto's very well behaved though. They are.
He's like a human. He really is. He's one of the most human like dogs I've ever met.
That's awesome. So what kind of upgrades or what kind of stuff did you put in? Like how many different stations do y'all have in your
Gosh, I wish I could like show you right now. I'll have to send you some pictures too.
Yeah. You can always take the camera with you if you need to.
We're on a desktop.
That won't work.
It'd be a little harder, but
no. Yeah, I mean definitely
really
send me some pictures.
That's like the one thing that I like go like all out on is like I want to make everything like super cute, and so it's like a fever dream of my brain. But we've got some really nice tables. We've got a good tub. We've got like stand dryers and normal dryers. We trying to think what else is like.
You just put the dog. You put the dog into the dryer to dry it off. Is that right? No.
No, we like forced, use
Right.
dryer.
Right.
We don't use those. Those exist.
Really? You just stick the dog in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like a TV almost.
I'm just imagining like my
Frozen.
dryer where you just close the door.
Yeah, no, it almost looks like
No.
better words, a dog microwave, but we don't use those. We've heard
Yeah.
good and bad things about them.
Sure.
But it's dangerous. I
Yeah.
mean, we
I
kind of
did not know that was a thing. That's hilarious.
It's totally a thing. Yeah, it's not super mainstream, but people have them.
Mhm.
The one thing that we did keep the same from being mobile
Mhm.
is like the way we groom dogs.
Mhm.
So we are based by appointment only.
Okay.
And so when we get the dog here, we groom them straight through, and
What
we
does
let
that
their
mean?
parents. So like once they're here, we start their haircut, start their bath, and we don't stop until they're done.
Okay.
So
Cool.
other grooming salons, typically most grooming salons will take like what
4 to 6 hours to groom a dog.
Really?
Because they take them on every half hour.
Yeah.
So they like start it, throw it in a drying room with like or
Yeah.
a kennel with a dryer, and then start it. And then take a new
Is that
one.
just for more profit margin, I suppose,
Yeah.
like, so they can get
Yeah.
more in?
Well, they a lot of times we charge about the price of a mobile, slightly less than a mobile.
Sure.
But when I
Is
used to
mobile
work,
typically more expensive?
very.
yeah.
Huh.
When I went from my shop that I worked at to working for Amanda initially in the van,
Sure.
I was charging $45 for a Shih Tzu
that's
haircut.
crazy.
And then when I came to the van, she was charging like 100 to 120.
And people are paying that.
People
Willingly
will pay
and
it
tipping.
willingly. I mean that, and so even some mobiles will charge. Every mobile in every shop is different, and
You guys were
state is
doing like
different, but
1,000 a day, pretty much.
I was
we could
grooming.
do
I
1,000 a day,
I
yeah.
was grooming at the shop like 15 to 20 dogs every single day.
Yeah.
Because I had to pay my bills.
Right, of course.
Then you only make like there. I was making like 50% commission.
Sure.
So
If you even cut down even more, yeah.
Yeah. And I had to work like that. And when I came to work for the van, it was like, not to be so drama, but it was almost like I had a full body like nervous system reset, because I was like, holy
nice.
this is so calm.
Right.
Like what?
How do you determine like your prices? I guess were there other mobile groomers in the area that you were competing against?
Yeah, most mobiles in this area, I would say, are about like for like a Shih Tzu type dog, priced about 120.
Gotcha.
Wagon Tails itself gives you kind of like what they think that you should be charging.
Oh, really?
To cover all your mobile bases. So one of the cool things about them is that when you do get the van, they give you like a book of like general maintenance, how
that's
to
cool.
schedule yourself,
Yeah.
what certain breeds should be, how much you need to make the van payment, and your like estimated bills. So they set you up pretty well. And
you
so
have gas and you have mechanical issues. Do they include the like what you need to do to fix the generator and stuff, or do you figure that out yourself?
They don't technically include that. I got really lucky. My husband, he works on RVs.
Yeah.
And so they work on generators a lot.
Nice.
So I was really lucky that he could help me a bunch. But like our van just kept having issues and breaking down. And then we were also like, you're super isolated in there by yourself all day.
Right.
And so
and that was before podcasts were really a thing, so you couldn't really.
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how much podcasts we listen to. So many murder podcasts. It's like you get it.
That's exactly what my sister does. We're like sitting at dinner and she's telling us all about like the Golden State Killer. And I'm like, okay,
listen to one of those. Yeah. Very interesting.
And then you're just like alone in the van as like a woman by yourself. Our
that just raises up your anxiety.
Crime. Horrible.
Yeah, we've got some crime. Yeah,
but you keep doing it, right?
You would be in there, and like I've had times where like I'm in there, and then all of a sudden like someone on drugs is like banging on the door.
Oh, no.
And then like I look in the mirror, they bang on the door. I don't know what's going on. So I go in the front and look in like the rear view mirror to kind of see if I can see what they're doing. They're like underneath the van trying to get our catalytic converter.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What do you do during that? You say, Paige, get up.
I'm not gonna get out. So I just started like honking the horn and like laying on it. And he scuttled out of there and like went off to wherever. But I mean, that is like, and that's stuff we deal with here at the shop now.
Right. Really?
So, oh yeah.
Don't come to Oregon.
Don't
Just
come to
kidding.
Oregon.
But
We love Oregon so much. Not trying to talk, but we have a really bad crime problem. Like that's just unavoidable.
Yeah.
It's just
Man, I've had
running
that
this shop
same.
is like
I've had the same thing with a squirrel under my car, but I don't think they were trying to steal my catalytic converter.
no, even here, we keep our doors locked at all times,
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
we call like quiet weeks where like nothing really happens, and then we'll have weeks where we're having to tell people to get out of our parking lot, and then be like, hey, sorry, like you can't like just hang out here, or like, and they'll scream at you and curse at you and tell you.
Sure.
I mean, it's like
this is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's like where we're at. And then don't get me wrong, like I said, love this place, love this town. It is beautiful, but we have a credit problem.
Right. Are there
it
other
factors
businesses?
into our job.
Right. At least you got out of that first area. It sounds like it's a little better.
Oh, it's way better here.
At least you're having quiet weeks.
Area. Yeah. Well, when we were like the old area we were in, sorry, I feel like this is a tangent aside from grooming.
I love tangents.
But it was the area we were in. We were underneath an apartment complex.
Oh, really?
And they like to like smoke and hang out right by our door.
Yeah, who wouldn't? You know,
and so that was also like a thing we'd have to deal with. And they like to like watch our comings and goings, and like we were kind of like a reality show for them.
You guys had some fans. You had some groupies.
Yeah. So it was we had this like whole group of people who was always like kind of in our business when we were just trying to like
Yeah.
So yeah, we had it. Now we're our own building. We're not attached to anyone.
Right. How does it work like when you first do you rent with the intent to buy down the line, or what do you kind of see the future for y'all?
It would be cool if they ever did want to sell. Like that would definitely be something we'd maybe consider. I don't they live in Portland, so like I've actually never met the people who own this building.
Oh, really?
But they're not, they leave us alone, which is cool. We pay our rent, they leave us alone.
That is
nice. But as our future plans are right now, we're looking into getting into training as well.
Nice. So what does that kind of look like for you? I know we were talking a little bit about certifications, and I remember Paige early in the conversation, you said that you trained Pluto, right? Like to always be with you kind of deal. So is that something you're both passionate about?
Yeah, I got him with the intention of him being a protection and like bite work dog.
Sure. Yeah.
I trained him. I had never done dog training before that. But I spent 3 years training him, and he is like the best dog ever. He's so sweet, but he's also like will rip someone's arm off if I ask him to.
Yeah.
And once like I found that connection with him, I've been kind of on like I'm gonna be a dog trainer. I'm gonna be a dog trainer thing.
Yeah.
But it's just I feel like it's like a good pivot.
Definitely.
Like,
do y'all want to continue to do this as well, or go training full time eventually?
I'd like to groom still.
Yeah, maybe not like the amount and volume that we groom forever, just because it is so hard on our bodies.
No big dogs, maybe.
Yeah, but we'll probably always groom to some capacity, but we would like to kind of pivot more towards that kind of thing.
Very entrepreneurial, and it's cool that you're doing things that seem to make you happier, right? Like you put in a lot of that hard work and a lot of hours, years doing this, and then you kind of took that and you're like, hey, I want to do my own thing, and then you're pivoting to that and then going to something else. It's very cool. It's exciting. I feel like there's stuff to look forward to with that as well.
And it's nice. It's nice to be in a shop with Amanda, because then, when you're alone and you're just like thinking about stuff you want to do, it's a lot less tangible than like, we're in here and we're
just meeting and pitching stuff back and forth. Yeah.
We are always just like, what more can we do? What other business can we pivot to?
Right.
And we're together, we're like able to do like so much than when we were just like in the van on our own.
Right. And I feel like your morale is higher, right? Like you being around someone, and like, it's great to be around dogs, but when you're dealing with the people you see during the day are kind of nasty or mean or topless. I mean, that's interesting. I'll tell you what.
That same topless lady, that same day, I forgot to mention, also texted me before I got to her appointment and asked me to pick her up 2 bushels of bananas and a gallon of milk.
That was nice. And you were like, that's exactly what I
And then I went to the door and she was topless. And I was just like, I was maybe like 23 when that happened. That was like when I first started being mobile.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess that's just
One time
Good
I
job.
found a woman wedged between her bed and the wall.
What?
And she had fallen and was literally screaming for help. She was
Yeah.
fine. She was fine.
Yeah.
But once I got her out.
Was her door unlocked, or like how were you
Yeah,
able to?
well, I always came in to get the dog.
Right.
And all of a sudden I just hear help like from the back room. And I'm like, okay, my back already hurts, but
Yeah.
no.
We'll see. Hopefully she gave you. Well, I guess I don't know. Do y'all do tips? Is that a big part of the business, or it seems like you guys have pretty strong prices, but that are competitive. But I also like how you do the job all the way straight through, so you're focused on one thing at once. I kind of like that model better, as you know. Then again, I might be biased because I'm talking to you guys and I like you guys. So I mean,
Well, it is easier for the dog. So I mean that's the whole point of mobile grooming, right? Is that you don't want your dog, well, you want your dog away from you, but you also don't want them there all day. And nothing wrong with like other grooming salons that do it that way. We have just been mobile so long, we were like, why not just continue doing it that way?
right.
Because we're already working that way. So we just take it like usually about appointment an hour and a half to 2 hours in between, because that usually, depending on the dog, we know how long it takes. But then they get here, we start them, we text them 20 minutes before they're ready, so they can be here right when their dog is done, and their dog doesn't have to go in a kennel or be extra stressed out by being here all day.
Do you accommodate for that? Like, is that something you've had to do before? Keep the dog all day, or like, do you have to?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't like to, but some dogs don't mind.
Yeah.
So there's some dogs also doing it this way makes it so it's flexible.
Right.
So if I have a dog that's terrified of the dryer on its head, let's say, I can still like put that dog in a kennel dryer for a little while.
Right.
Brush it while it sits, because there's no way you can use the big dryer on it at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just no point at all where they're like unattended.
Right.
Which is what would make me nervous. I do though think doing it this way is great. I would never go back.
Yeah.
I do think that we bring in a slightly more like nervous or like neurotic clientele who are willing to pay and like don't want, want that. So like it's questionable at the same time.
It's a give and take, but it's just part of the thing where like you have to do what helps the client. And so like I feel like it's okay to, do this like that's okay for that occasionally, but at some point you kind of set those boundaries. And like as long as you're established is like, hey, we're not really here to keep you for 4 to 6 hours, keep your dog for 4 to 6 hours,
Right. But we also still might need some extra time, which some people don't really like. Even if it's like an extra 15 minutes and they'll get upset. They'll be like, well, and you'll have to explain, well, it's an art, not a science, or
exactly.
It takes, every dog is different. You never know what they're gonna need or how long.
Or they might have like behavioral issues and not really be comfortable with it.
Totally. Like they've been attacking my clippers for the last 30 minutes. I'm just desensitizing them, or
Right. There's a lot of definite care that goes into it, sounds like. So how much, I know you had mentioned you're doing a lot of kind of training when you first start. You'd go through the PetSmart training program, but then like you're teaching yourself a lot. So like what did that look like for you guys? Like having to learn as you go? Was that tough?
It was not natural for me. Dog grooming wasn't natural for me at all. I didn't like, I was like highly upset for the first 2 years. And then I swear to God, one day I was just like, and then got it.
When I was at PetSmart, I went through training. I was there maybe like a year and a half, but I was still like a very new groomer when I was done. And I went into mobile groom. I like quit there and went into mobile grooming immediately.
Right.
And so I went from being surrounded by girls who knew how to do it and could give tips and tricks to being by myself as a
exactly. And it sounds like you were pretty much on your own in terms of mentorship at that point too, right?
I had an assistant who my friend worked with me for a really long time to help bathe and like answer phone calls and other things I couldn't do.
Right.
But he wasn't a groomer and he never wanted to be a groomer. So I kind of came from like that minimal training to working by myself for years and years. And like my grooms are like fine and okay. But once I started like, because Paige didn't do mobile all that time. She worked with a lot of other people. And so when her and I like work together, I feel like now in that last year, my grooms are like way better than they ever were because
Right.
I have somebody where I'm like, how do you go about doing this?
Right. So
You're
you're
also
constantly
not
learning
like
throughout the day.
cramped.
There's so many different
Yeah.
situations, so many different behavioral characteristics, that kind of thing, where I feel like
Yeah.
it's fairly interesting as well. Like it's a good way, to an
Yeah.
extent.
We've gone to a lot of like shows, trade
Cool.
shows recently
Yeah.
and taken more classes and
Nice.
stuff.
And YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Especially when I was younger, woo, I'd have my phone on my table, like how to do a Scotty head correctly.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, but
Like
like,
going back and forth. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't have to do it now. I mean,
Right.
with Scotty at least. But
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about teaching yourself too, right? Like you're taking the time, and like I'm sure it's not gonna be perfect every time, but you're getting better and better at your crafts. Pivot
Yeah.
a little bit. We have about 4 minutes or so left.
Wow, that was so fast.
I know time flies when you're having fun. That's what I like about this. You're just talking, you're just chatting, and that's something I've really enjoyed about because now I have friends in like Utah and Oregon and a bunch of
Yeah.
random other places. But anyways, how is it? It sounds like you guys have a very good relationship, but how is it working with your friend? You guys have worked together for a long time. It sounds like there are certain things that you guys have in terms of strengths and weaknesses that kind of balance out each other well. So how has that been for y'all?
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good. I've worked with a lot of people and uh it's not always wonderful.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I'm honestly still like not surprised, but it's like we're always together.
We're always together and we still hang out outside.
Yeah.
And we go to concerts, go on hikes.
We
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
a lot with our dogs. Our dogs are like best friends.
Yeah.
And you think because I mean when we're here for anywhere from like 8 to 10 hours a day.
Sure.
But then we still are able to like go and do that other stuff. We don't really we never like argue. Like if we ever have like issues, we just say it.
Yeah.
And even that's like few and far between. Like
Right.
it's been great. And I mean honestly, just having somebody there to commiserate with and vent about things with, and then
course.
hope when a dog is trying to bite your face off.
Yeah.
Hold the dog and calm them down, and
Yeah.
you look at your work and be like, "Hey, is this good?" And
Yeah. That is
And,
so nice. Yeah.
I'm quick to temper.
Sure.
And when I notice that I just it's so much easier now. I don't feel like I have to be so mad at the client because
Exactly.
I know that once they shut that door, it's fine. I can just be like, oh my God, Amanda, I'm so frustrated.
Right. It
you
sounds
know,
like you both have kind of improved. Like Amanda, you're talking about how you were kind of able to start standing up for yourself a little bit more.
I am a pushover. I'm a people pleaser.
Sure.
I don't know how I've been a business owner this long and done stuff with that. But I mean, seriously,
but I'm always and then it's I'm
right
behind the thing, no, you need to tell them they're
right.
not mad at it,
right.
you. And then she, she'll do it.
Yeah.
But she'll be like,
no, yeah. Okay, let's dial it down a little bit. Yeah.
But seriously, it balances out so much. I mean, I've learned.
Really sounds like
we
it does.
both learn so much from each other and different aspects of this business because
everyone will tell you not to open a business with your bestie, but we say do it.
Yeah,
right.
It worked out great. We've been doing a while now.
Yeah,
working together for a long time, and we've worked together throughout our careers at different places.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a cool journey. That's awesome. I'm excited to see kind of what's next for you guys in the Downtown Hound. Or you think you'll change the name again? After you go training. The Downtown Dignified.
I like it. I think that it can definitely stay the same name for training.
I like it too.
If we keep pivoting, we've even floated ideas of eventually even a kennel and
nice.
doggy boarding and stuff.
Very entrepreneurial. I love it.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. In the future. We are less than a minute, so I'm gonna have to cut it off. But thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, it was really
definitely
nice
be in touch
you and talking to you.
Yeah. All right. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Bye.